Hello again, my thought for the day again. It's quite amazing now. The more I watch other people's blogs, that's the ones that are here in the Philippines, that is. It seems that sadly a lot of the American guys that came out here with all the dreams of finding this beautiful lady as a partner, it's all going somewhat pear shaped. Um, If you listen to some of the comments that they also make on other people's channels, it's clear to me that not only are they commenting about what they're watching, they're also agreeing that the same situation is happening to themselves. Maybe they're not advertising the fact on their actual channel, but by making comments that clearly link their situation to the one that they're watching, where there are problems, it appears that they're maybe not being 100% truthful about what they're going through, which I suppose is pretty understandable, because if you're going through a hard time, one particular guy had built a house and, well, I should say, was in the process of building a house. It's got a roof on it now. I wouldn't say it's completely finished, but it's functional, I think. And he and his wife of 7 years um, have decided that it's no longer. Um, Sad to say, but after 7 years, you would think that you would have established a pretty secure relationship with a Filipino, not lost on the idea that surely they wouldn't be just waiting for the house to be built and then off they go. But it seems that way. I mean, I can say that if it happened to me, well, c'est la vie, I mean, what can we do, I suppose? But the reality is it's in here, not down there, when you're thinking about these things. And a lot of people say, oh, that would be the end, you come here, you retired, you build a home for somebody, and it's all gone pear-shaped. Now, of course, we can't let it completely devastate ourselves. We can allow the situation to get to the point where it's going nowhere, and maybe the best thing is to go separately, as maybe they've discussed. But is it really? Because, okay, they built a house and she's living there, maybe with her kids and family as well. Why is there a need necessarily to cut off the financial support that is there and has been there for many, many years maybe? It just seems a rather unfortunate situation to allow your relationship to just fade away, so to speak. There must have been signs. You can't just announce the next morning, unless, of course, she's decided that she's met somebody else, whether it be Filipino or foreigner, and just said, nah, I'm not going to take any more of this SHIT, as she might see it, and she's given him his marching orders. Or maybe he's just gone off on maybe we'll say a visa run, maybe, claiming it's a visa run, and never to return. Maybe he's done a runner. But more and more people seem to be doing this, and it's sad, really, because that's not the essence of relationships here in the Philippines. Like anywhere in the world, you can have people divorce or separate after many years together, but I would have thought that the temperament of a Filipino is a challenge, for sure. And unless they come here, what I believe is completely unprepared for life here in the Philippines. I watched a video today, one of my favourite bloggers, wandering around the shop, obviously an expensive supermarket and pointing out the prices of different things. And I'm thinking, well, that sort of fits into the category of those Americans, especially Americans, sorry guys, who come over here saying, oh, I've got 5,000 a month to live on, and blah, blah, blah. And we're talking dollars, of course. For them, T-bone steak at $30 a piece, no problem. But really, when you think about it, why would you come all the way to the Philippines to just eat the same things that you've been eating all your life? Why would you not try and make some nice, nutritious meals with what is available in the market? And those that say, oh, you can't find this and you can't find that, well, I disagree, because we live in the provinces. I can't think of, apart from Brussels sprouts, I can't think of anything specific that I can't buy either in this market or in a market up in Baguio, 48 k's away, about an hour's drive away. So the old idea that you can't find food for your Western appetite, it doesn't hold water in my mind. Of course, if you want Western style cheeses and things like that, you can go to SM Supermarket up in Baguio, or even here in San Fernando. There are supermarkets here, and Watson's and all these kinds of stores where you can buy Western products. And if you're going to do that, of course, it's going to cost you a lot more in terms of your cost. The fact that these guys come here and they don't seem always prepared to, I suppose, go camping. Let's put it that way. To go camping in the sense that, why do they have to have 5-star accommodation? Why can they not be happy with a comfortable home, or maybe a comfortable bungalow or a single-story building that you can either renovate, that your girlfriend or the family have, so that your life, maybe even just one room, put some plaster on the wall maybe, and make that room with aircon, and maybe add another one in there, the other parts of the house. Make it so that you do have a good social life with the rest of the family. Somewhere where you can shut the door and just forget about what's going on out there, because most of the time you won't necessarily be involved in every moment of the day issues. So it's always good to have a good man cave attached to something, but some choose to build fancy homes, and of course, if you do that, you do run the risk, of course, of, if there is a separation, they might say, well, we'll sell the house, darling, and you can have half and I'll have half. But the reality of that is pretty hard here in the Philippines, because the real estate market isn't quite the same. Well, it's nothing like that of overseas. Most people buy, the only people that can afford to buy generally cash are people who've got a home themselves here and have found someone who'll buy it, and they've managed to get the cash in their bank account ready to go out and buy another one. But generally speaking, mortgages aren't really something that you get on a property here. Some banks will give mortgages to Filipina, and but then of course the interest rates are astronomical, so you really need a fairly short period of time to pay them off. Even 12 months is maybe sometimes too long. But it is upsetting to say that there are a great number. I'll say a great number because I get people that send me emails on a regular basis, and I'd say 80% of those come from America, and they always express their disappointment here in the Philippines with their girlfriend. Some, of course, are being more positive, which is great, and I love to read those ones. And I comment on them and send them back as soon as I notice they're there. Don't always check them every day, but yes, it is an upsetting situation. I don't know whether it's the times we're going through at the moment with the uncertainty around the world, and people are just flocking back to what they know is best, even though it's a dreadful place to go back to in many cases. People often ask me, why don't you go back to the UK? Well, I'm sorry, I don't see what the UK can offer me. But there again, I don't have a house in the UK, but I suppose if I did, that would be the answer, is that at least I have a home to live in. But friends and family will always put you up, generally speaking, but only for a very short period of time. The rest is up to you. And so therefore going back is not often a choice that we can make. So we make the best of what we can here. And I suppose the positive note is that just because it all falls apart here doesn't mean you can't move into a small place somewhere to regroup and get your head back in the right space. If you're married, I think it's not a good idea to jump in the sack, so to speak, straight away, because you run the risk of getting yourself into legal trouble, given that you're still married to a Filipina. The idea that some of you go to Thailand and off to Cambodia or Vietnam is maybe an indication that lifestyle over there is maybe a little bit better in terms of the infrastructure, but also on a par in many cases for being able to afford to live there. So to transfer what lifestyle you've had here over to there and give it a go, I suppose is worth the effort. But guys, don't be disheartened. You will find, if you really spend the time to circumvent all of the BS that you will get on these dating sites and things like that, you should be able to find yourself a nice, honest lady who you can share the rest of your life together. It won't be a life that you've had in the West. It won't be a love affair like that. It's just not. It's not in that league. How can you possibly have a Western style relationship here in the Philippines? I just don't think it's possible. You'll have a Western to Filipino lifestyle, which is it's a new style of marriage, a new style of relationship in total. And those that come here thinking that you're just, I suppose, trading in an old model of the West for a beautiful little pint-sized Kylie Minogue with an Asian look about her, are misguided, because a marriage here is totally different from a marriage over there. It's based upon different things. The idea really is that, what do you bring to the table? We can't emphasize it more. It's your money. It's your money. Now, if you're happy to live and share with that person, that's fine. It doesn't become an issue. If you're going to be just Jack the Lad and end up down in bars and getting drunk and getting your girlfriend pregnant when you're 70 odd, well, more fool you. And again, that's a sad reminder that there are a number of guys out here in their late 60s, early 70s, and one in particular, 82, and has just had twins. I mean, I'm all for starting again necessarily and maybe having a family, but why actually create one when most of these ladies have got one already? And really, are you just trying to prove your manhood? And what are you going to offer that child growing up knowing that he or she will never know their father, not the way you want them to, because you won't be here anymore? And I think if I'm being honest, I think it's really quite selfish. Yes, selfish of you, but more importantly, much more importantly, on the child. And I understand that Filipino women, young women, want to have a child. And I suppose if they marry a Westerner or they marry a Filipina, the first thing on their mind is to have a child. And a lot of you guys just like Picasso waited many, many years before he had his last child. But he was well into his 80s, I think, when he had a child. So really, it's a disappointing thought for the day, really, because there's so much going on out there. Yes, it's a lot of Doomageddon stuff, Dramageddon, as I say, but it's sad. It's sad that we guys, expats, haven't really learnt truly what we've come here for. And I suppose everybody, you come here for different reasons, but when having a family is a big issue. Being a part of a family is a lot easier, and you can control that a lot better. But if you end up creating more problems than you're actually looking for, I think, and it may well make you feel good inside, but just give a thought to that child. I never met my father, so I've got a little bit of understanding. I was adopted by a family. So in a way, your child is going to end up being adopted by maybe another man to bring he or she, up to the point where they can take off and make their own lives. So while you sit there criticizing single mothers, I don't think it's a great idea that when you're old and you come here to the Philippines that you burden a young lady with the knowledge that she now will have to look after that child when you're gone. So, sorry to be so critical of it, but I think it needs to be said sometimes. Sometimes you need to put a cap on it, so to speak. Anyway, you have a good evening as the sun is setting in the sky. Bye now.